In my previous two videos, I showcased two builds I think will slowly take over the meta in Season 3 for NBA 2K22. I'll leave a link in the description to that playlist if you want to check it out. Now, since I've already talked about the two-way sharpshooter and the two-way slash and playmaker, I think it's only fitting that I talk about a tall build with excellent playmaking, great speed, and can pretty much do everything on the court. Here's how to make the best point forward build in NBA 2K22. Now, I couldn't decide which point forward build I like more, so I'm actually going to show you two different versions. So for the first build, the first thing we're going to do is put him at the small forward position. I'm sure this build will be very similar at other positions, but you must make him a small forward if you want the point forward name. Like always, your name, handedness, and jersey number are entirely up to you. When it comes to your skill breakdown, choose the pie chart with the most playmaking. This pie chart will give you Hall of Fame playmaking badges, and as you'll see later in the video, you'll still be able to get a decent amount of badges in other categories. Like I mentioned in my two-way slash and playmaker video, most people would probably select the first pie chart for your physical profile since it has the most speed. I think the agility and vertical pie chart is a little better because you get way more vertical in exchange for a slight reduction in your speed. Plus, I'll show you how you can still get up to a 97 speed with this pie chart. For the finishing category, we're going to increase our driving layup to a 60 and max out our driving dunk to a 70. These are the only attributes we're going to touch in the finishing category. Now, as you can see, we only have one finishing badge on this build. Because this build doesn't get contact dunks, there's really no need to have a lot of finishing badges in my opinion. Now for shooting, we're gonna max out our mid-range to a 77, our 3-point to a 72, our free throw to an 84, and our post fade to a 70. This will give us a total of 15 shooting badges, so you should be fine shooting the ball as long as you know what you're doing. Moving on to playmaking, we're gonna max out our pass accuracy to a 92 and our ball handle to an 85. This will give us 30 playmaking badges, which is more than enough to be an elite playmaker in this game. Finally, for our defensive attributes, we're going to increase our interior defense to a 49, max out our perimeter defense to a 73, lateral quickness to a 73, steal to a 71, block to a 60, offensive rebound to a 60, and defensive rebound to a 71. This will give us 10 defensive badges, so on top of being able to dribble and shoot the ball, we'll also be able to play a little bit of defense. This will give us a final badge spread of 1 finishing, 15 shooting, 30 playmaking, and 10 defensive badges. Body shape is personal preference, but like always, I'm going with built on my player. Most people go with 6'7" for the height. Now, if you go 6'6", which is only an inch shorter, you'll get a decent boost in almost every category. Our block rating is the only attribute we might care about, but the difference from a 55 to a 60 block is practically negligible. So again, if you want the extra inch, go with 6'7", and if you want the extra attributes, go with 6'6". I'm gonna go with 6'6" for my height. For the weight, we're gonna go with 188 pounds. So with the help of the Gym Rat badge, at 99 overall, we'll have a 97 speed, a 95 acceleration, and an 87 vertical. For our wingspan, I'm gonna go 1 tick above default at 83.4 inches. I lose 1 point towards my 3-point rating, but I'll get a +1 boost in steal, block, offensive, and defensive rebound. Finally, for our takeover, with the number of playmaking badges we have on this build, I'd recommend going with playmaking takeover. Once that's done, you have now made one of the best point forward builds in NBA 2K22. Before we get into the second build, I want to quickly show you which badges I recommend using with this build. Since we don't have many options for the finishing category, I'm going to spend my 1 upgrade on Limitless Takeoff. For our shooting badges, I'm going to go with Blinders, Hot Zone Hunter, Sniper, and Stop and Pop, all on gold. And for our remaining badge points, I'm going with Catch and Shoot, Corner Specialist, and Lucky Number 7, all on bronze. For playmaking, I'm going with Ankle Breaker, Dimer, Handles for Days, Quick Chain, Quick First Step, and Tight Handles, all on the Hall of Fame. Next, I'll do Bullet Passer and Unpluckable on silver. And finally, I'd spend the last 2 badge points on Bronze Bailout and Bronze Hyperdrive. Finally, for our defensive badges, I'm going with Clamps and Intimidator on gold. Next, I'll do Rebound Chaser on Silver, and finally, I do Bronze Chase Down Artist and Bronze Rim Protector. Feel free to cater to your playstyle with all of these badge categories. So that's the badge setup I'd recommend for the first point forward build. Now I'm gonna quickly show you how to make the second one. So just like the first one, the position is gonna be small forward. Next, we'll choose the same pie chart with mostly playmaking for our skill breakdown. And finally, once again, most people will select the speed pie chart for their physical profile, but I'm going with the agility and vertical pie chart. Now, for the finishing category, we're gonna max out our driving layup to a 78 and our driving dunk to a 70. Just like the last build, that's only gonna leave us with one finishing badge, except with this build, our driving layup is a 78, so we'll get access to more layup animations. So this build will be able to finish around the paint a little better than the first one, even without any additional finishing badges. For our shooting category, we're gonna max out our mid-range to a 77, our 3-point to a 72, our free throw to an 84, and finally our post fade to a 60. This will give us 14 shooting badges compared to the 15 we got on the previous build. Moving on to playmaking, we're gonna upgrade our pass accuracy to an 84 and our ball handle to an 85. This will give us 28 playmaking badges compared to the 30 we got on the first build I showed you. Finally, for our defensive attributes, we're gonna upgrade our interior defense to a 57, our perimeter defense to a 73, our lateral quickness to a 73, our steal to a 71, our block to a 52, offensive rebound to a 60, and our defensive rebound to a 71. Just like the previous build, this one gets 10 defensive badges, so again, you'll be able to play a little bit of defense. Once you've upgraded everything, you should have a final badge spread of 1 finishing, 14 shooting, 28 playmaking, and 10 defensive badges. So overall, you do lose 1 shooting and 2 playmaking badges if you go with this option, but just know that this build will get access to more layup animations, so you'll be able to finish around the rim a little better. Like I mentioned for the first build, you can go with either 6'7" or 6'6" for the height. I would much rather get those extra attributes for going with 6'6", but again, you should be fine with either option. For the weight, we're gonna go with 188 pounds. So just like the previous build, with the help of the Gym Rat badge and 99 overall, we'll have a 97 speed, a 95 acceleration, and an 87 vertical. Now you can actually get both slashing and lockdown takeover with this build. To get lockdown takeover on this build though, your wingspan must be at least 85 inches. Otherwise, you'll just be given the option of playmaking, shot creating, or slasher takeover. So just to show you what that looks like on this build, I'm gonna max out my wingspan at 87 inches, and then on this screen, I'm going to choose lockdown takeover. So that's another way you could make the point forward build in NBA 2K22. Now, to show you the badges really quick, for the finishing category, we're gonna upgrade Limitless Takeoff to bronze. For the shooting category, we're gonna go with Blinders, Hot Zone Hunter, Sniper, and Stop and Pop on gold, and then Catch and Shoot and Lucky Number 7 on bronze. For the playmaking category, we're gonna upgrade Ankle Breakers, Dimer, Handles for Days, Quick Chain, Quick First Step, and Tight Handles to Hall of Fame, and then Bullet Passer and Unpluckable to silver. Finally, for the defensive category, we're gonna upgrade Clamps and Intimidator to gold, Rebound Chaser to silver, and both Chase Down Artist and Rim Protector to bronze. So if you decided to go with this version of the build, I think this is one of the best badge setups you can run. Regardless of which version you choose, that's how you make the best point forward in NBA 2K22 after Season 3. If you guys want to see more build videos like this one, let me know in the comment section below. Until next time, I'm out.